We gon' run it, hit the field, blast off, watch them all fall. This is AFC North talk. Got me hype, it's about to be a touchdown. Got the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and the Browns. Are you listening? It's time to get it hype. Tune in when the season poppin'. Yeah, we going live. Hey, knock 'em out. Ay, first down, going hard. Yes, indeed. AFC North talk. Let's go. Hey, AFC North talk.
Yo, welcome to another edition of AFC North Talk, presented to you about Manscaped. We're going to be talking about Manscaped in a little bit. Everybody should be happy. Even Guru, Guru was here in a bye week, but he's vibing too. Everybody happy, everybody with a dub this week.
Not all dubs are built the same, but I see.
We'll talk about all these dubs. Okay, so our guy here, Ace, he's battling something, and shout out to him because he made it. He came because he wanted to make sure he put his take. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna allow him to go all 3 games takes, and then from there,
I lived through injury like Joe Burrow. Boy, look at him.
Trying to make it, fellas. Yes. Crazy stomach virus going on right now.
But you can go whatever order you want, Ace. That's cool. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with the London game first because that was the first game of the day. Got to watch that one, and that was the Ravens against the Titans. I think the Ravens came out very strong. They kind of asserted themselves early on. There was a point where the Titans started to catch back up, but I think the moxie that the Ravens showed with being able to finish that game out and not allow any kind of collapse to happen was good for the Ravens. I know a lot of people are talking about Lamar's parlays and all of that. I feel like Lamar is right. Who cares about the parlays? Who cares about the Vegas odds and the fantasy points? This one was about going on a trip to London and coming back with the victory, especially after the letdown last week, and especially with the Steelers on the bye. The one thing that you didn't want to do is lose this game to lose an advantage to the Browns and the Bengals and the Steelers in this division. So I think Baltimore went out and took care of business. It wasn't super pretty, but it wasn't super ugly either. They were able to control this game. The Titans, they end up losing Tannehill in this one. I don't think Tannehill was going to make much of a difference. He was having a horrible game, threw some interceptions. The Ravens defense capitalized on it. And so I think that they took care of business. They did what they needed to do, and that was get to 4-2 with the division being what it is. So shout out to the Ravens. They had a really good game. It's going to be an exciting one coming up this week. We'll talk about that one on Thursday. Shout out to the Ravens. They came through, handled business, took care of what they needed to do. The next game is the Bengals. I'll talk about my Bengals because I feel like the Browns one was probably the most exciting from this weekend in terms of shock value. For the Bengals, I think that they came out looking like Joe Burrow was back. In the first half, I'm like, okay, here is what we're talking about. They come out against a Seahawks team that honestly – I had this one looking like it could go either way, right? Seahawks were a good team, 3-1 coming into this one. They come into Cincinnati and immediately they get the ball and they go down the field and score. And so from my perspective, I was just like, look, if the offense is really back and they're able to do whatever they need to do, they have to answer the call from this first score. They were able to do that. Joe Burrow was willing and dealing early, was 10 for 10. Hit a bunch of different receivers. Andre Yoshivas, the rookie receiver that a lot of Bengals fans have talked about. He was able to haul in a touchdown. But the thing that really happened was the offense stopped after that. After the first half, the offense completely stopped. And the defense essentially turned on. So it was kind of weird because after the Seahawks went down and scored that first scripted drive, I thought, okay, we're going to be in for a shootout. And that was the last touchdown that the Seahawks scored after that. So the defense really took control of this game because the offense only gave them 3 points in the second half. Orlando Brown goes out the game. It seemed like the play calling started to get a little timid. It seemed like they were a little conservative, a lot of check downs, a lot of non-creative stuff there. And that's a credit to the Seahawks. Their defense made adjustments at halftime and were able to really affect this Bengals offense. But the biggest thing of the game for me was just the way that the Bengals defense played. We've talked about this Bengals defense, how they struggled against the run. Kenneth Walker coming into this game was a guy that I was worried about. They end up shutting Kenneth Walker, by my standards at least, down. 3.3 yards per carry, doesn't go over. I think we had an over and under on one of my shows. I said that he was going to get an under, but I said it was going to be because Zach Charbonnet was going to get carries and that they together were going to do something. But they end up holding Zach Charbonnet in check. They end up holding Kenneth Walker in check. That was a big key in the game. The other big thing was DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf made Twitter headlines, kind of pitting Witherspoon and Jamar Chase against each other, which I kind of found a little silly because if you look at 33rd team, they do a great job of looking at personnel and how many teams run zone and how many teams run man. And the Seahawks ran like 79% zone defense. So I didn't expect it to be a situation where Witherspoon was going to be on Jamar Chase constantly. And that's what I kind of saw in the first half was a lot of Jamar just beating the zone, being on safeties, being on linebackers and stuff like that. But the biggest thing to me was Metcalf against CTB. CTB playing man defense against DK Metcalf was huge in this game because he really got in his head. He had some very key stops against Metcalf on fourth down, on key downs. He had an interception on one of them. Like CTB just for all the talk about Witherspoon, and I'm not hating on Witherspoon because I liked him coming out of the draft, but I think CTB had the game that people were talking about Witherspoon would have. And I think that he's ascended right now, especially with Cheeto not looking like himself. If I'm just being frank, he has ascended as the number one corner in that cornerback room. And I think he kind of proved that in this game. So shout out to CTB. Another guy though, that I don't give enough praise to because a lot of times we talk about him as a run defender. Sam Hubbard went crazy in this game. 9 pressures, a key sack there at the end to definitely help the Bengals defense hold another red zone stand. They had about 3 or 4 of them in this one. He came to play. Logan Wilson had a pretty good game, 10 tackles, 1 sack. The defensive line was able to get after it, but this game was all about the defense. There are some concerning things from the offense, though, because I expected the offense to be back. They looked good in the first half, completely non-existent in the second half. They've got to get that together. They got to get the run game going, and they got to get somebody outside of Jamar Chase to do something. Look, Jamar Chase is the guy. He's doing his thing, but they're not really getting much outside of Jamar Chase right now, and that's something that they're going to have to figure out in the bye. But the biggest thing of it all was winning this game, whether it was ugly, whatever it was, given the start that the Bengals got out to, they had to get into this one at 3-3 with the bye week, especially with Joe. That's going to give him another week to kind of get back closer to 100%. That's going to give them time to kind of change this offense out that was built around his calf. So we'll see what happens, but shout out to the Bengals for getting that dub. Now, the biggest game, I think, was the Browns game. I mean, I did not give the Browns a shot coming into this game. I will not run from that. I was completely wrong in this one. Their defense showed up. And I know that there are going to be people, 49ers fans, I heard the excuses this morning in spaces. Oh, well, we lost McCaffrey. We lost all of this. Well, guess what? The Browns came into this game with no Nick Chubb. They came into this game with no Deshaun Watson. They came into this game hurt as well. So I don't want to hear the injury excuses because Christian McCaffrey scored a touchdown before he went out. So he was able to put up points and stuff like that. But the way that the Browns played this offense with the 49ers, which were running the thing that everybody's trying to figure out how to stop, right? The motion, the stuff that Miami's running, was very impressed with Jim Schwartz and how he handled that and how their secondary was able to react to it. And I think that they made Brock Purdy look like a mortal. Like Brock Purdy's been getting all of this love. Overstone, you're probably not going to be sending too many Brock Purdy super chats today.
Oh, there's one. There's already one. There's one on the queue.
Looked extremely pedestrian, my guy. He turned back into that guy. Yeah, Brock Purdy is not. Don't even mention him in the same.
Let me read
same
it.
sentence as Joe Burrow.
Says, I love mid Purdy is an elite. He is just like Burrow.
The only thing Brock Purdy and Joe Burrow got in common is small hands. Okay, that's it.
And he did not have Deebo Samuel, and he did not have, and he still had, like a lot of people are like, oh, he didn't have his all-pro guy.
Yeah, Kittle and Ayuk.
still had Ayuk, still had Kittle, still didn't do anything with that. So, to me, sure, if you want to say that, the 49ers weren't 100% healthy, I'm not hearing that. Shout out to PJ Walker. Even though he threw the 2 interceptions, he was still able to get them in position to get out of that game with a victory. But I think this one goes to the Browns defense. We've been talking a lot this season about how good this defense is. This was a game where they went against a legit Super Bowl contending opponent and completely shut them down. Stopped everything that they like to do, made Brock Purdy look human. So shout out to the Browns on that side. And shout out to Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford getting that ground game going for the Browns. And Amari Cooper has looked just as advertised. I mean, Amari Cooper is probably the most consistent thing, I think, on this Browns offense. He balled out. No matter who was at the quarterback position, had some really highlight catches in this game. So shout out to him for doing that. And then a big shout out to DeJuan Jones, man. You guys know, Bengals fans, if you follow me, I was big on DeJuan Jones coming into the draft. I thought that he was a great prospect. Gave up 1 sack to Nick Bosa, but hey, it's Nick Bosa. But for the most part, dude held his own. Nick Bosa, outside of that 1 sack, wasn't doing anything, wasn't really affecting the offense like that. Really took them out of this game. So the Browns get a much-needed win and a statement win, right? We can win without Deshaun Watson against a Super Bowl caliber team. Our defense is that good. So for me, I saw that from them. This is a team that can win with or without Deshaun Watson. Obviously, you're going to want Deshaun Watson there for the long term, but this is a team that is not going to look like it did with DTR. And we saw that this week. They were able, and I saw something that Quincy said earlier in the week where he was like, okay, no guessing games whether or not Deshaun Watson is going to play or not. Let's get the team focused on Deshaun's not going to be there. We're going to show up regardless. I do think that was a huge difference in this game. They played like a completely different team. They weren't shell-shocked. So shout out to the Browns getting a major win against an undefeated team and giving some people a blueprint to look at when playing the 49ers. Like, I don't think anybody was able to show any of the chinks in the armor. This looked like a 49ers team that was just going to roll through a lot of teams. But when it came to playing that AFC North football, when the Browns hit them in the mouth, they were not ready for it. Obviously, the kicker missed a couple of kicks, but that happens. It's the NFL. This is a rookie kicker.
Hey, we don't play in good weather like they do out in the West Coast, right? That wind swirl over this way in the AFC North.
Right. So, I mean, you're not going to get any sympathy from us on kickers. I mean, we talk about kickers all the time on this show. But shout out to the Browns, man. Shout out to all 3 teams in the division. Steelers are coming back next week off of the bye. So it's going to be a really good division for years to come. And I think this just showed, don't sleep on the AFC North. A lot of people are saying AFC North is mid and all of this and that. 49ers came in, took on the Browns. You see what happened. We'll see what happens with the rest of the division, but this is not a division that you can really sleep on.
Hey, Nova Stone, real quick, I want to ask you, you fear PJ Walker, don't you? Because you remember what happened last year when PJ came up in there against your GOAT, against Tom Brady? PJ got him. Okay. PJ got him with a 93 grade on Pro Football Focus. And then your new stand, your new guy, your new man, Nova Stone, okay, walking up in here. PJ got him again. I know you sick.
So, by the way, for those who are saying the AFC North mid, not necessarily probably from here, but probably outside fans, the only division that has no team below 500 is this division. Because the Bengals right now are currently last at 3-3, but any other division has either a 2 or 1 winner or over in their division. Mm-hmm. We can talk about the Bengals first. Ace, I don't know if you can stay or not, but we'll talk about the Bengals first, just in case you can stay for a little bit. Look, I agree with a lot of stuff you said, Ace. As I see it, it was, I believe it was for the first 2 drives that you guys scored a touchdown. Maybe it was 2 out of the first 3. It was definitely 2 out of the first 3 of the first 2 drives. And after that, the offense was like, because I remember, boom, score. As I was watching the game, I'm like, man, maybe Ace was right. Maybe they are back. And then I'm watching this game, I was like, wait, this is what I've been seeing from the Bengals. Short passes. 3. I don't know if there were some 3 and outs, but not a lot of movement for sure. But the defense can ball out. Like Geno Smith looked overwhelmed. Definitely, the secondary was definitely good, but those trenches, that defensive line came to play. And the linebackers were definitely filling the gaps on the running game. Now, I see a super chat here, and we'll go through super chats soon. I just want to make sure Ace was for this conversation. And they hit on, and I'm curious because I know you saw the London game. They hit the it wasn't Taylor Briggs. Was it Hill? I forgot who it was.
Hill.
Okay. Yeah. It was the same, like literally the same hit that Hamilton had. Right? And I got pissed in that game because look, I didn't mind that they called a 15-yarder.
The fact that they ejected him.
I'm like, why? We'll talk about that later. But I was like, I watched the game obviously afterwards because it happened afterwards. I was like, how the Hamilton got ejected, and my guy here is not ejected. Again, it should be a 15-yarder. I'm not even disputing that. But I was curious, what do you thought when the hit happened? Since you knew Hamilton got thrown out, do you thought that he might get thrown out?
I didn't think he was going to get thrown out. At first, I thought that it was a clean hit, and then I saw that he did get a little bit of the helmet on it. I think he was trying to go for the shoulder, but still ended up hitting him with the helmet. So I don't think people looked at it like, hey, it was dirty. A lot of people tried to say it was just a good hit, but no, I didn't. I didn't think that they were going to send Hamilton out. I thought it was a big hit, but I didn't think it was like
I agree.
This is targeting where we're throwing him out of the game type of thing.
Anyway, for the Bengals, I think the defense showed up. The offense obviously still has a lot of questions to answer, but the defense came. They clamped down. They did their thing. You can build from that, right? And it's curious, and Q, I'm gonna go with you, but it's curious because a lot of people talking about how the league is moving on all offensive side, and we look at a team. The Bengals won on defense. The Browns, and we'll talk about the Browns too, won on defense. Talk about the Jets, both undefeated teams lost to a defensive sided team, right? Because Jets had no offense basically. But Q, what do you think about the performance that the Bengals did on offense and on defense on this game?
Those of us who've been paying attention to Cincinnati Bengals should not be surprised at this, because the Cincinnati Bengals have been, despite the fact that their most publicized players are offensively, they've been a team that when you look at the X's and O's about their defense, right? Like everything that they've been able to accomplish over the last couple of years have been off the strength of a really good defense and an offense that can take advantage of things at times. Now, they're not like an anemic offense. This isn't like they're trying to like duck things together or put things together a little bit, but it's just like that defense has been the most consistent thing about the Cincinnati Bengals. If you hear any Bengals fan talk about it, they'll talk to you about Lou Anarumo before they'll talk to you about whoever they think is the offensive coordinator in Cincinnati, right? That's what I think people don't understand about the Bengals, is that defense kind of determines how the game's going to go for them. If that defense is there, they're going to show up, they're going to play well, they're going to get their drives on offense, and they're going to score, they're going to look like the Bengals. If that defense is not there, like it has a couple of times this season, then that's where you tend to see them in trouble, right? The focus usually goes nationally on, oh, is it Joe Burrow? Is it this offense? But the offense kind of has always been a little inconsistent. Now it's been a little bit more exacerbated because of the Joe Burrow calf injury. But I think this defense has been the most important thing on this Bengals team. And if they play consistent football like they did on Sunday, for the rest of the year, this is going to be a team that's going to be back in playoff contention no time soon. As far as Joe Burrow goes, not his best game, right? But not a bad game from him, I wouldn't say. I saw him for 2 weeks in a row just like run around in the backfield like crazily. This was like an extreme example right before the end of the first half, where he went back down, left, right, left. He was doing the electric slide, trying to run away from like these edge rushers. And it seems like that calf is really on his way to getting healed. Once it's healed, he'll be a little bit better. I do wonder if now the inconsistency on offense, is that more to do with Joe being healthy, or is that more to do with the regular inconsistencies of this offense? Plus, I mean, it's been the thorn in the side for the Bengals, right? The offensive line just not being able to give him enough time sometimes, right, to do what he does well. Is that why you can't find anybody but Jamar Chase at this point? And is it some of the stuff creatively going on with the scheme that's also causing these problems? Because I think that's a bigger concern than Joe Burrow's calf at this point if you're the Bengals. So, yeah, I think the Bengals look good. They went. Well, no, this was a home game for them against the Seahawks. They beat a team that everybody felt like they should beat, but it would be a tough game, and it was exactly that. The second half woes weren't anything that's like super encouraging, but I want to say it's discouraging. We're just gonna have to see what they do next week to get a better picture. And again, it's a week by week league. I'd like to say this all the time: you don't know who anybody is until November. Right? We have no idea who anybody is, what anybody's going to be, because November is about the time where if something's going to change, it changes. But that's where we're at with the Bengals. I think they're probably on their way back to being in contention for this division. They're waiting for some things to shake loose. They'll see what happens with the Browns. The Browns are in a precarious situation. The Ravens being inconsistent, and the Pittsburgh Steelers still don't know what to expect from offense. So they're still in this race, and despite a slow start.
Yep, Guru.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're a Bengals fan, it's similar to the I didn't panic last year. Starting 0-2 in the division, the slow start. The Bengals have basically been able to stay afloat, and keep their head above water. When I look at the Bengals going into the next couple of games, right? It's Buffalo and San Francisco. Is that correct? Okay, and when I look at those two teams, I mean, basically you'll figure out what you have after those two teams, right? Just because of the parity, right? The Browns are headed to a bye week. The Steelers and Ravens pretty much have advantageous matchups in terms of opponents who aren't playing the best football. If the Bengals can get out of that with a 2-0 record or even 2-1 headed into the bye week, well, they'll be in a situation where they feel that they can, start putting that, that streak together. Not necessarily 11-0, but I think that if they finish this season, 500 or a couple games over 500, they'll put themselves in either the wild card or they'll put themselves to compete for the first or second place. The division, like Q said, is completely wide open, just because the Steelers had a bye week, everybody won, and the division, you look at the Steelers 2-0 in the division, you look at the Browns and the Bengals, they've had success too. So it's completely wide open. Pertaining to the Bengals, the biggest thing that I've been really impressed with the last 2 weeks has been their secondary. The secondary, DJ Turner, Cam Taylor-Britt, Nick Scott, Jordan Battle, these guys are looking like they're starting to develop some continuity and develop some type of understanding of what Lou's asking them. Now, when you lose an all-pro in Jesse Bates, when you lose a vet that has high IQ like Von Bell, there will be a significant drop-off. And the Bengals have been able to bypass that. And then you look at the linebacker play, you're starting to see Pratt, you're starting to see Logan Wilson look like those guys who were one of the best tandems in football last year. The wild card, I think, for the Bengals is, can I get anything out of Myles Murphy? Can I get anything out of B.J. Hill? Because, injuries, they do happen. And that D-line, it's starting to look like it's getting that prowess, that physicality back. But you also could use Myles Murphy at 1 or 3 just to allow DJ Reader to be fresh, because how many snaps he played. But the Bengals have to like what they see. The offensive line is starting to coexist. Orlando Brown Jr. looks like he's getting his feet under him, being more consistent, not getting the same aggressive penalties or false starts. And I think the biggest thing that I'm looking at the Bengals is, can Joe Mixon continue to run the football? The yards per carry has improved. Looks like his attempts have improved the last couple of weeks. And Zach Taylor is starting to understand, hey, I need a little bit more balance on both ends. So the Bengals have to be pretty excited or comfortable where they're at right now.
Yep. By the way, Guru, I like that Wizards sweater you have over there. I like that fleece jacket.
And when the last time the Wizards won 50 games?
1965.
It's been a minute. Hey, this is the year.
I used to love when LeBron would play the Wizards, man. That was a good time.
I used to hate it because he always dominated us.
You always got to throw a low blow, man.
Yeah. Anyway.
Deshaun Stevenson would be out here talking stuff. LeBron come back. It was fun for the first couple years because it was a tight series, like at the beginning of that rivalry. And then it got sad. Like then LeBron took off, and it was like, oh no, this is not fun no more.
When we had Butler, Jason, and Zero, they were tight.
Yeah. It's okay. We ran up against Prime Dwight. People, and nobody respects that anymore. It used to be people respected Prime Dwight, but now you talk about Prime Dwight stop LeBron. Like people don't understand that. But that was Prime Dwight was crazy.
Remember, he became goofy, and then he went to the Lakers, and
He
then
was
Kobe.
always goofy. But
Yeah, but then Kobe
he
hated him. Like
He was
Kobe,
goofy in the finals against the Lakers. That's why they
Yeah.
lost. He wasn't
Yeah.
taking it serious.
Kobe hated
But-
him, man. That was like
But
Kobe.
think about that. Dwight was doing all of that, and he got a team where you could not name more than two
I
other
can't
guys
remember.
on it to the NBA.
I couldn't remember one that he played with him. Oh, JJ Redick, right? JJ Redick was it him?
I think it was JJ Redick, and it was they had a 3-point shooter who got caught doing steroids.
Nelson, wasn't Nelson there?
Jameer Nelson was there. He
Yeah.
was Lou, Rashad Lewis.
Lewis.
Remember when Courtney Lee missed the layup game one?
Oh, that's
They
painful.
could have won them the game against the Lakers.
Yeah.
That's painful because I was pulling for them. Anyway, David Minor here says, I feel great. I don't know what fan base is here, but doesn't
Probably
matter
a
because
Browns
everybody
fan.
won. Bayrack here says, Browns defense has only given out 77 points all season, and 38 of them are off of short field because of turnovers by the offense, and it will be 44, but Browns D made them lose 10 plus yards on 2 drives to miss field goals / out of range.
Yeah, the craziest thing about the Browns defense is the fact that the offense in 5 games leads the league in turnovers. Everybody else can play 6 games. The Browns lead the league in turnovers with like 12, right? And the fact that has not mattered
Exactly. That's what I was
is
going to say.
speaking to how good this defense is playing. To the fact that like they've thrown like 3 interceptions where just nobody scored anything. Like they got a punt out of it, and they were like in short field. This is different stuff that you're seeing from this defense.
Jim Shore starting to make himself another coaching candidate. I think that ship is sailed with him. But anyway,
Nah, he's too old. You know, Lou and Rumu been one of the better defensive coordinators in football. He can't get a job right now. It's just they don't want that.
I'm with it. Keep it that way.
Yeah. You only if you young, they gonna hire you if you're a D coordinator.
The last old D coordinator that got the job
was Vic Fangio.
Fangio, yeah, and that was like, not good.
Yeah.
But right now in Denver, nobody can win. Anyway, Ray Rack here says, where's Noah Stone this week? The new Tom Brady got outplayed and lost to PJ Walker. Gridflow here says, Hamilton, very dirty. Player needs to be suspended. I disagree completely, but we'll talk about that hit and when we talk about the Ravens. Can we just all be happy that we won on the Steelers bye week? I lost money this week, so
What you bet on?
I'm not gonna say, but I was hoping I was gonna make 1,200, and one of the teams didn't cooperate. But anyway,
your parlay.
Yeah,
Was it Lamar?
No, I parlayed three. Okay. So last week I parlayed and I hit everything minus the any touchdown Lamar. That hurt me. That hurt me even more.
Yeah, that's got to hurt twice as much, right? Because of how that game went. Yeah,
exactly. Not good.
By the way, I'm just gonna say that Tyreek Hill MVP odds. I would take it right now if I was inclined to do such a thing. You know what I mean? Because he had I saw plus 7,500. They got Christian McCaffrey at plus 25. That's crazy. Like Tyreek almost got 814 yards and 6 touchdowns.
He
got a season, okay, like in 6 games.
Yeah, insane. He's balling out of his mind right now. Anime Tree here says, I have to stop believing the national media, Browns coverage. I actually believe the season was over. The crow is hard to eat.
Once I put you off timeout, Anime Tree, you come back. You know what I mean? You come back.
That's the dude that was saying trade Miles Garrett.
Yeah, that's trade Miles every year. Every year. We get one of them. We get one of them from Tree. I got to put him in timeout every year because we want to trade Miles. You know, look, you'll be in timeout for the rest of the week. Then you come back on Sunday.
So AM Prime here says, I hope the Ravens gave the ref the game ball. I want to know why you think this. When we got a guy ejected for a hit that it was a penalty, but ejected. And then half of the yardage minus the one big run was on all penalties. The Ravens were penalized like I haven't seen a game being for us that penalized. PIs, multiple PIs. PIs galore was in this game. So I would like to know because I don't think the Titans got that many penalties on them. Prime, if you can elaborate, because I would like to know. The Browns have only given up 1,002 total yards so far this season, which is by far the best in the NFL. The next closest are the Ravens with 1,565. Damn.
Here's the pace that the Browns are on. They've given up 200 yards a game total on average. The 2000 Ravens, for a barometer of like what's a great number. A great number is 247. I think that's where the Baltimore Ravens were in 2000 per game. So that's a great number. It's like you can't get better than that. Last year, there was no defense that held an offense that had under 300 total yards, per game of offense given up. No defense was under 300. The Browns are at 200 right now.
That's
and look, you can list off some things too about who they've played, and people will look at it disingenuously, but like they played Christian McCaffrey and they played Derrick Henry. It was two best running backs in football.
Yep.
Joe Burrow started slow, but they played Joe Burrow. They played Lamar Jackson and they played Brock Purdy, and I think Lamar is going to be in the race for MVP this year, if not the MVP this year. So, I think that there's a lot of people trying to ignore what's happening in Cleveland with this defense, but I think it's starting to get to the points where you cannot ignore it. And I think this is it, right? Once you beat the 49ers with PJ Walker, like you can make all the excuses in the world you want for the 49ers, but that was a complete old school defensive win.
And one thing I'll say is, because I looked at the Ravens and Titans penalties, that one, and I know you made a mistake, but the Ravens actually got 9 penalties called on them and 6. Interesting thing, the Browns had 12 called for them, but they had 13 called against them. So it's not like it was a one-sided kind of thing.
Every game that's like that, both teams feel like the refs are like a conspiracy against them. It's like usually the refs just suck. That's just usually what's going on, right? The refs missed a blatant face mask. They missed a holding call on that touchdown. If you look at I cannot believe I'm blanking on the brother's name. 71. He's the best left tackle in football.
Williams.
Trent Williams. You look at Trent Williams on that play, he blatantly holds JOK on that play in front of everybody with nobody blocking the view from the referee. They didn't get caught. So, you could call it what you want to. You could blame it on the refs, but that's usually just loser talk, to be honest with you. Like, I've never heard that be valid.
Nova Stone here says Bateman needs to be cut. Horrible mindset. Get Adams. So, yeah. Yeah, let's get Adams. That's easy to do.
Adams. Better fix it. Right?
For a moment, I was like, "Who he's talking about?" And then
somebody suggested to me, I forget who, and shout out to you if you were the one. So it was like, "Hey, should the Browns just get Saquon Barkley?" I'm like, "Yeah, if you can get him, but like, you're not about to get Saquon.
Saquon will be cheaper than Devontae, though. Devontae probably costing you a bunch plus his contract pick. Anyway, here
if it were up to Devontae, he would be there.
Devontae will go right now. Anybody that has any winning record.
Catching passes from Jimmy Garoppolo this year.
Bengals don't run the ball at all. I don't know why. They have Joe throw the ball 40 times. Super Bowl year, Mixon ran for a career high in yards and touchdowns. I said this to you,
big man offense.
That I don't understand why the Bengals don't run more.
I agree completely. And the reason, so from what I heard that year, you got to think going into the year, Joe Burrow's coming off of the knee injury.
Yeah.
From what I heard, there were people telling Zach Taylor in the building, if Joe Burrow got hurt again, his job was going to be in jeopardy. So what he did was when Joe Burrow started off the season, it was like they pretty much handcuffed him. They wouldn't let him throw for more than, I think it was 30 times a game. And as a result of that, they force-fed Joe Mixon. I don't understand why they didn't do the same thing with this calf situation, because it's like he pretty much was immobile and you needed to protect him as well. But I'm also not surprised because outside of that 1 year with the Super Bowl year, Zach Taylor has never run the ball. Like even before Joe Burrow got here, that was the thing. And a lot of people were like, dog, you cannot not run the ball in the AFC North. This isn't the NFC West. You have to run the ball. Seeing Joe Mixon only get 12 carries is not acceptable, especially given the situation that they're in. Hopefully they can get the run game going after the bye.
Yep. Okay. With that being said, before we move to the next game, let's talk about our sponsor, Manscaped. Attention all sports enthusiasts and ball game aficionados. It's that magical time of the year when football's all in full swing, basketball's back, and baseball playoffs have us on the edge of our seats. But speaking of ball games, it's time to talk about the champion of the grooming game. That's right, Manscaped has just launched the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. It's like having a six-man on your team, ensuring you stay smooth no matter what sports you're into. So don't strike out on this offer. Head over manscaped.com and use promo code AFC North Talk to get 20% off and free shipping. Trust us, with the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, you'll be the real MVP both on and off the field. When it comes to sport, it's important to know ball, and Manscaped sure knows balls. So at the peak of ball season, we're introducing the brand new the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, which takes your grooming precision to a whole new level. The Lawnmower 5.0 uses two enhanced skin-safe blade heads. First, a head with an upgrade trimmer to get your grass in play condition, and then a dual foil blade head for top-notch smoothness. We all know football is a game of inches, but Manscaped knows grooming is a game of millimeters. With advanced grooming tools like the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, you can tackle any hairy situation and come out looking like an MVP. Also, inside this bundle, made for ball, feature the new Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and hair remover trimmer, crop preventing ball deodorant, crop smoother toner, and 2 free gifts. With all that and a bag of ballpark chips, there's no reason not to put your game face and give it a go. The playoffs are no joke, and neither it is. Make the right call with Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code AFC North Talk at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use promo code AFC North Talk. We all have the 4.0. It's been great. It's an amazing product. So make sure you check the 5. I'm assuming 5.0 is better. Manscaped makes great product. Go check them out. And use our promo code. Also, big shout out to Adam Holland, Dom Gazulu, Luis Cousin, Leo Selray, Rack, and Wesley Earl, Christian Rob. Thank you for being the top tier Patreon. We appreciate that. Thank you for supporting what we do. We do appreciate that a lot. Okay, let's talk about the Ravens. I want to make sure we leave the Browns game for last because they had the most impressive victory. So Ravens win in London. I know I got so many messages from people, by the way, saying like, "Are you in the game? Are you in the game?" I'm like, "Yo, are you? Look at all this shit that I have behind." I said I moved. I moved to the U.S. The Ravens, they did me dirty because they went and play when I moved to the U.S. So last time that the Ravens went to UK or to England, London, we did not perform well. So obviously I was scared. I'm not going to lie. I was scared that our performance was not going to be too poor. They started quick. The first 2 quarters, we should have put more points. We definitely struggled on the red zone in this game, which we hadn't had before. This game was a game that we struggled in the red zone. But on the other side, the defense was balling out. The defense played great. Henry had that one big run and another like a 20-yard run. And that, other than those two, which obviously the big run was game changing. We were playing well against them. We were playing well against Tannehill. The defense, I'm not concerned on the defense. If anything, the D-line. I said this last week. The D-line against the run, I think you're having a lot of guys in there. They had the Ogunjobi effect, and which it is. I'm trying to get the sack, but not necessarily make the play. Make the play is holding that O-line firm so it doesn't get to the second level. But the pressure was applied. Clowney. This is what Clowney. I remember when we played Seattle in Clowney, and this is the problem. Clowney must be the most frustrating player to follow. Wait, Q, you're muted.
And welcome to Clowney World. Welcome to Clowney World. It's always he could do this.
And this is why. Look, to be fair, he had a great game. He had 2 sacks. But for 6 weeks now, this is what Clowney does. He wrecks the O-line because he does, but he doesn't finish the play. He must have a bunch of pressures because he gets to that backfield constantly. There's no, but he always misses the damn tackle. This game, even though he had 2 sacks, he could have had more because he always misses the damn tackle or the sack. Right? This is again
tackle like a defensive back.
Yeah. Yes. It's like, and then his hands must have butter because he like.
Oh yeah, you always see like the Clowney wrap around miss sack. Like he gives you one of those like every 3 games where he gets a clean shot at somebody, and instead of running through them, he runs to the side of them, and it like gets wrapped around the running back's hips or whoever's hips that he tries to tackle, and then he just gets thrown to the side. And then also the thing that will drive you nuts about Clowney, he will get on the ground and stay there. Like he doesn't even get back up in pursuit after that.
I would say with the Ravens at least the hustle has been there. But I don't know. He's gone to, maybe when he was in Houston, he got too many fines of roughing the pass. I don't know what it is.
He's never been that. Even in his last year in South Carolina, he didn't have that many sacks. Like he's always been like a mystery. Like where are the sacks?
Because he does beat the old lineman, which is the hardest part.
His win rate's good.
It's insane, and I'm there looking like, honey, what's wrong? You're there already. Just bring it out. I don't know what it is. Marlon Humphrey, by the way, this was funny. Marlon Humphrey must be a very annoying teammate because he does this IG live, and he says he starts in the plane like interviewing people, and he goes to Clowney. He's like Javanian almost Clowney or something like that. I like that. And he said to like, what do you think about these people calling you Javanian almost Clowney? And Clowney's like, tell them that they can F themselves. And then Marlon. Again, he must be the most annoying guy in Ravens. He's like, nobody's calling that to you. That was actually me. My bad. I was like, what? But it's true. That's perfect nickname.
This is the man who had a complaint about all the sacks that Myles Garrett was getting because they was trying to take him away from him.
Nah, he couldn't.
He take his own sacks away.
Exactly. He couldn't get the sacks. But anyway, defensive came. Pressure was there. Not necessarily with blitzing, actually pressure with 5s. I know that the Tennessee O-line is not the greatest, but still, I'll take my victories. But okay, offensive side, look, they were again moving the ball, but just it was the first game that this happened. But the red zone, the Tennessee Titans in the red zone were able to stop us. That D-line specifically in the red zone was putting pressure. I think we were trying to get too cute. Overall, good performance. For a moment there was a momentum swing. And I was like, oh my God, they're coming. They scored. That was when the big run happened. And Lamar after that throws a pick, and the momentum is coming to the other side, right? I think we're winning by 3 at that point or whatever. And then Geno Stone made the pick. Marcus Williams, by the way, he's hurt. I don't know why I know he has that torn pec or whatever it is. And the big run that King Henry had, you can see Marcus Williams running to the side and trying to figure out how I'm gonna tackle this man without getting hurt because he's playing with a brace, and he ended up like going on the sideways to his hip and taking him down, and then he went out of the game. I think he should be put in IR even if he can come back, right? Because he's been trying to come back to the game, and shout out to him. Good, but with a torn pec, I mean, I think you need to heal more if you're not gonna do the surgery and then try to come back. And then the Kyle Hamilton play. Look, people calling Kyle Hamilton dirty. Kyle Hamilton is a physical player. I think he flies to the field. They have him for blitzing, aka like Mike Hilton. They put him in cover to tight ends. They put him in the back playing cover 2. They have been using Kyle Hamilton all over the field. And if you go see that play, the guy's trying to catch the ball, and as he's ducking down, right, Kyle Hamilton's coming high to make the play on the ball. Was it a flag? Of course it was a flag. There's no disputing it was a flag. Should have him been kicked out. I don't know. Look, I disagree with the kicking out players unless you maybe have a reputation as a headhunter or whatever. This is the first time that Kyle Hamilton has ever got this flag, by the way. Harbaugh asked the refs who made the call to kick him out, and then nobody knew. So Harbaugh said it probably came from New York. I personally did not like that. Other than that, I mean, this was a game that wasn't necessarily pretty. Um, the If you look at the game as you're watching the game, you can see definitely the Ravens were the better team, and they at the end finished it. To be fair, for the people saying that Tannehill left, I actually think when Malik was there, they moved the ball a little bit better. They just, they were down by 8, and they took Henry out. And when you take Henry out, you knew what was coming, right? They was just gonna throw the ball. So obviously that helped the Ravens defense a lot. You just became one dimensional. You were able to take Henry out of the game. But other than that, I mean, again, it was a solid win overseas, on the road. It felt like a home game. We had more Ravens fans there than Titans fans. But anyway, good team win overall. But yeah, Q, what do you thought about this game?
Yeah, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Tennessee Titans. Yeah, the only thing that really concerns me with Baltimore is I'm seeing it again, and we know where this story usually ends with Baltimore, where they're running the Lamar Jackson left and right offense, right? And it's I thought this was the year that was going to be different, right? You change offensive coordinators, things going to change, but then I look at the rushing totals, and Lamar Jackson's still number 1 rushing total, right? You look at the rushing attempts, he's still up there with the highest attempts, and it's just well, he doesn't have more than Gus Edwards. I'll at least give him that, but it's just a lot of use of Lamar Jackson. But other than that, they're doing fine right now. I think Lamar's playing at a good level. I think, once he gets back stateside, he's going to have another good game. I don't think it's a fluke that he had the one good game versus this Browns defense. I think he's playing really good ball right now. The question is, can his wide receivers help him out? Mark Andrews in this game played pretty well. Zay Flowers played pretty well. Look, I didn't have Nelson Aguilar outgaining Odell Beckham and Rashad Bateman combined on my bingo card. But I mean, hey, look, if that's what's got to happen, that's what's got to happen. By the way, y'all want to go back to that show where we talked about that Odell Beckham deal, where people was telling me how dumb I was for thinking that was a bad deal? Raven fans in chat, y'all want to relitigate that one? I want to know. Let me know. Let me know in the chat right now if y'all want to relitigate that one. If you want to send any apologies this way for the veracity in which you spoke to me about that contract at the time, because I was probably right about that one. But this is your time. This is your time to get early. I'll accept apologies right now. But yeah, overall, look, this is a team that they should have beat. I think they beat them by the margin that you would expect them to beat. It's hard to go up or down with the Ravens with this victory, but it's nice to see them take care of business overseas. That can be a recipe for upset at times. So it's nice to see them take care of business. I'm excited to see what they do down the road. I really just want to be able to get a good grasp with this offense, right? Of what is actually going to be this offense, right? What's going to be what are they going to lean on? Is it just going to be Zay Flowers? Is it just going to be Mark Andrews? Or are Odell and Rashad Bateman going to show up at some point in this season, right? But yeah, that's basically my thoughts. I don't really got too many thoughts about this one.
Guru. Hey, Guru, can you hear me?
Yeah, Gary. I like the bounce back. I like the offense not hurting ourselves with the drops. I like the defensive identity. It looks like that the Ravens are starting to play with. Your veterans are starting to establish the roles, and the young guys up front, Matabuke, Travis Jones, even Cal Hamilton, they look like they're getting comfortable. I kind of am like Q. The offense, I want it just to have a little bit more balance, right? If Gus Edwards or Justice Hill, if they're not getting loose, Lamar Jackson's still not using his legs like we used to see him. But I'm looking at Zay Flowers. I'm looking at Bateman. I'm looking at these guys to establish themselves as number 1 receivers, because the Titans, believe it or not, I thought they would have tried to take away Zay or take away Andrews. And Andrews, he hurt him a little bit, but Zay was looking like he's developing to your number one option. And Odell Beckham, he had a nice run after catching the slant route, got up, fired up. So you want to see a little bit more consistency there. But the Ravens, they're a team that I'm just wondering, do you have too many weapons, or do you have too many schematics right now? Do you want to make it a little bit more simpler? I know you don't. We're going into week 7, so I'm looking for the Ravens to establish maybe an identity more on offense. And when I say that, not necessarily run past, but just the receivers, man. Maybe you want to just you want to lower your rotation. Maybe you want to just go with 3 or 4 guys instead of having a plethora. Now, the thing about the plethora is the guys struggle to get rhythm, and Lamar, he wants to have guys who he can count on. And I'm not saying he doesn't, but it seems like you guys got just a little bit too much options. I'm curious to see you cut Kenyon Drake because Keaton Mitchell is healthy. So I'm curious to see, do you get him involved in the running game? That type of speed. He had a good return in the kick return game. So I'm looking at that. And then lastly is, what are you going to do about the pass rush, right? You got guys coming back from IR. You still have Clowney out there. Do you think that you're going to be able to establish and get about 2 to 3 pass rushers who can go seek, kill, and destroy?
By the way, the one that made the kick return was Duvernay. Just for context.
I will also point out to my Raven fans who are telling me it's too early to say anything about Odell. Can we talk about the fact that the brother has 9 receptions for 113 yards? I've seen him have games bigger than that. As a Cleveland Brown, when he was washed, I've seen him have games literally bigger than that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, he only has played 3 games because remember he missed a couple already.
Rashad Bateman though, 10 receptions, 15 targets, 82 yards, brother. What is your excuse?
Yeah,
what is going on?
That hurts me because I love Bateman coming out of that draft.
Ooh, I did too. I thought he would be good.
And he had flash.
A log of 18.
Mm-hmm. He definitely needs to do some soul searching. Ray Rack here says Miles made Trent Williams look average. I never seen Trent get thrown. Oh my god, I remember that play like that ever. And thank you, Vikings, for letting Dalvin Thomas and Zadarius Smith come to us in Cleveland.
You know, there was a play, I think the most impressive play in the game. Miles was great in run defense all game. There was a play where, you know how they have the offensive line, they crash down. They shoot out their stance and they crash down immediately, right? Miles shoots out of his spot so fast that he beats Trent Williams to the crash down and then shrugs him with his off arm. I was like, I've never seen that. I have never seen that before. That was insane.
Yeah, I would say this. Myles Garrett has been good for a while, but I think this has been his best year. And in no coincidence, I don't think it's a coincidence that he has the best supporting staff.
It's crazy how that affects you.
Yep. 49ers paid off the refs. Then at halftime, Jimmy pulled them aside and said, no, one outbids me.
Hey, did the same thing for Deshaun. You know what I mean? Like,
Garrett had 1 tackle and 3. Boo, I scare you.
Prime, it's gotta suck to hate this much. Like, you just a hater. Like, what team do you like? Are you a Steelers fan?
I don't know. He is Steelers or Bengals because he
I think he's a Steelers fan.
Gotta be, right? You gotta get that hate out your heart, bro. You know what I mean?
Yep. Hey, Ace, I know you have to go, bro. Take care. Feel better.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care.
Definitely.
David Minor here says, I'll even shout out the Ravens for looking okay versus us. I wonder who he is. What fan he is.
He's a Browns fan.
He's a Browns fan? Okay.
Yeah.
Q said a Clowney, the old guy who hates it at work.
Hey, look, Clowney clock out at 5. You know what I mean? Like
4:59.
Coming to no picnics. He not answering no slacks. That man clocks out at 5. His laptop is shut. Don't try to ask him to do something at 4:52. Like, he's wrapping up whatever he does at 5 and he's out. And I don't mind that. Look, it's a job. But Clowney, he makes it first and foremost that you know, bro, this is a job.
Nandan says Bengals gonna turn it up after the bye week. Okay.
Why you always got to turn it up? Like, why don't y'all ever just show up turn? Like, you know what I mean? Why is it always got to be like, oh, we gonna come later? Like, show up on time, Bengal fans.
Okay. That being said, let's talk about this Browns game. Nobody gave them a chance. No one, or very few people, gave him a chance. There were some injuries sustained, and I know because I had Debo Samuel during this game.
Mm.
But
Starting
the
to
biggest
fight
injury,
pregame just to get hurt on the first drive. That sucks.
yeah. But the biggest injury, we'll go back to Deshaun Watson, right? That is the biggest the biggest injury coming to this game. And look, PJ Walker, we had to acknowledge something about PJ. We did on the pregame show. We said the thing with PJ was PJ will push the ball out, and he has no fear of throwing the pick, which that's why he
you
throws
don't.
picks. He has no fear. He's like, I'm gonna push the ball, and if he gets picked, whatever. And so he's not a game manager. If you're looking for a game manager, PJ Walker ain't it. But you know what PJ Walker does? He has nerves of steel, and he keeps playing. It's cute. I was trying to tell you this before we started the stream, and I said that I thought about you as this game was ending and how it ended, and I was like, Q always tells us never trust kickers, never trust kickers, and there you go, right? It was definitely a mateable kick, right? It wasn't like a 60-yard, 58-yard. Was it like a 40 something, right?
It was a 41-yard field goal.
How much? 41?
Yeah.
Okay.
41-yard field. But hey, that's what happens when you draft rookie kickers. It's never a good idea. Tell me who it's worked for. Who on the second contract? There's like two. I think it's Tyler Bass, and is Mason Crosby still in the NFL? I think he retired, right?
Yeah, I think he retired.
Yeah. That's the only one that's worked out. All the kickers that's been drafted. Every team thinks they're a genius. Oh, we're going to draft this kicker. We're going to show y'all. And every team looks like an idiot when they draft the kicker because all you end up doing is warming them up for somebody else. Okay, because he's going to get ran out of town in that first spot. You got to get him on the rebound. That's all I'm saying with these kickers, man. Like, you know, you got to stop. Y'all got to stop thinking I'm hating. I'm trying to give y'all teams some good advice. Stop drafting them. You know how I noticed the Browns done drafted 3 kickers. Ain't none of them on the roster. Okay, they on other rosters right now. That's what happens when you draft kickers. You just end up doing a lot of favors for a lot of other special teams units. Never your own. Just get a veteran or get a bunch of dudes in camp, and whoever makes the most kicks, that's the dude. And if he missed, we got another one on call. That's how you handle the position. But, you know, everybody want to think they geniuses, think they can learn how to get these kickers because you could draft them. Okay, yeah, have fun. And why is the assumption when you draft the kicker, we'll have this guy kick for us for the next 20 years. You know what's about to happen? He's about to miss 10 kicks his rookie year. He's about to be out of there, bro. Like, he's not going to be there for 10 years. That's not how that ever works. So, you know, stop drafting kickers. And by the way, it's funny that he missed in the same end of a stadium that Cade York used to miss in all the time. Another rookie kicker failure. Okay. So stop doing it. By the way, shout out to Shanky Boy. We gotta give him that.
Yeah. AFC North is different, right? The conditions and all that. Like, if you're a good kicker for the AFC North, you're a good kicker. I mean, the Steelers have had their guy forever, and the Bengals seem to be found a guy to it, McPherson. And Hopkins has been okay so far. So, anyway, this game for me, Q, your secondary played well, but I'm not trying to diss them, but the trenches was the game. That D-line for the Browns was exceptional. I mean, and you call it, you said if there's a place where the Niners have weaknesses, is that O-line. And man, like maybe it was Ray Rack. Somebody tweeted about or super chatted here about Williams looked pedestrian. Like Myles Garrett was an animal this game. Like he was great. The pressure that was coming through all sides, it was amazing. So that D-line for me, from the edges to the interior D-line, was amazing. The linebackers and you know, the other thing is actually not only the linebackers, but the rest of the defense also, it just plays fast. So when you have that D-line pressuring, breaking the pocket for that quarterback, and the rest from the secondary, from the middle linebackers and back, are playing fast, any opposition is gonna have a problem. It's gonna have troubles. And Purdy had troubles throughout the game. McCaffrey didn't have a good game either when he was there. So it was just great. I mean, that defense deserves all the praise. Offensively, they did just enough, right? They did just enough when you have PJ Walker there. And again, PJ Walker, he will definitely test the blood pressure of any coach because usually a coach wants their backup to be, game manager, you know. You know who PJ Walker could never play for? Q? Tomlin.
Yeah, you never. Tomlin will die. Yeah.
Tomlin will die.
No,
Anyway,
PJ threw it on that play action boot. He knew damn well he wasn't supposed to throw that ball. He knew it was like it's the most simple read. Like you learned this in high school, where it's like you do that boot. Okay, is the corner wide open? No, the corner's not there. Okay, you got the flat underneath? Can you toss it to him? No. All right, run it, get down. That's it. Yeah. But this man threw the backside dig. I was like, what are you doing? Ain't no way. I know the quarterback coach was pissed. Like, I know. I was like, what are you doing? Yeah, he even came to the podium like, yeah, I was supposed to throw that. We know. No.
Everybody knows.
No, everybody knows. The only people who don't know are the ones complaining about the play call. Why would they call that? Because you think they about to crash in. Like, okay, let's see if we get an easy one. If we can't, just get down. That's it. That's it. That's the play. What are you doing? Why would you throw across your body to the dig when Fred Warner's there? Oh my God, that was I'm glad that didn't end the game because that really could have killed the game.
Yep. Anyway, but Q, I'm curious for you. What do you thought about this game?
Yeah, I think this was a show at the Browns defense. I thought they had the one bad drive there. Your best hope versus the Browns defense is, your open drive. When you have everything scripted, you might be able to get something to shake there. If you don't, it's going to be a rough one. And pray that the offense gives you short fields. Right, like that's been the plan for every team that's played the Cleveland Browns is to hope that they're a really good run defending team. I think the Baltimore Ravens were able to do some things that had success. They adjusted to that over the bye week, especially with the motion stuff. And once they got that down, it was tough. I mean, like Christian McCaffrey, he was in that game for another quarter and a half before he went out. And he wasn't doing nothing, right? 40 yards. Like he wasn't doing a thing after that first drive. And you look at what they've been able to do on the back end. I think that they didn't do the greatest job this week holding up in the back end. I thought there were a couple opportunities where big plays could have happened, especially a Christian McCaffrey choice route. They had Anthony Walker and it was a choice route for McCaffrey. So there was no winning with no help over top. So that could have been disastrous for them if they hit there. But see, that's what defense is. You got a bad situation like that, but you get pressure on the front end, and that affects Purdy's throw to the point to where he can't make it. That's what this defense has. They have a secondary that can make plays for the front four, and they have a front four that can make plays for the secondary, and they both can operate at elite levels at different times, and nobody in the NFL has that right now. There are teams that are close, but nobody has what the Browns have right now. This is just a different level of defense, and when they're clicking, they're stifling. JOK, Grant Delpit, and even Taki, the speed of those linebackers, the inability for teams to screen them, even though they're aggressive, tells you how smart these linebackers are, and how fast and athletic, how well they're tackling as well. Here's the thing that I would be concerned about if I were a team going up against the Browns. Myles Garrett, that was like the best you could do against him is what the 49ers did. They put tight ends on him all game. They put Trent Williams on him. And I think Myles also just didn't have his best game in the world. And he played well. He also was playing off an injury. I think he had an ankle injury. I don't think this was his best game. I don't think this was his best game at all. And you were able to get that from him. You didn't get that great of a game from Darius Smith either. And it didn't matter. That's a problem, right? Like it's not just about stopping Myles. It's not just about stopping the other edge rusher, because Dalvin Tomlinson can get pressure too. Jordan Elliott has been pretty good. Maurice Hurst has been really good. These linebackers are fast enough that if they blitz them, it's trouble. So the ways that they can get pressure, the amount of players that they can get pressure with, the interior, outside, inside, linebackers, DB blitzes, they still have that. They can send Grant Delpit at any time or Denzel Ward at any time, and they're all so fast. And Greg Newsome also another good blitz corner. So, you just have such a variety of ways to blitz with 5 guys or at most, and then you can sit back and cover with the athletes that they have back there. It's a tough defense to beat, especially once they lock in on you, especially once they start getting some confidence. This Browns defense starts going downhill on you. There's nothing much that anybody can do against them right now. Offensively, look, the turnovers have been the story of the year. I think they're 1 turnover away from being 4-1, but they turned the ball over too damn much on the offensive side of the ball. They have to figure out ways to have success on plays that have less opportunity for turnovers, right? Right now, the only way the Browns can move the ball is if they spread everybody out and go into empty and play that way. And that's a way to play if you have Deshaun Watson. But when it's PJ Walker, mistakes can happen because he's only like 5'10". You got DeJuan Jones at 6'9". That interception to Fred Warner happened because he just couldn't see over his offensive line and see Fred Warner right there. So they have to find a way to manufacture some offense, whether it be from the run game, and you saw some of that Sunday, and from the screen game to be able to get more yards consistently without a high margin of turnover when they do this. That's what not having Nick Chubb costs you, right? I think the turnovers are a direct reflection of not having the Nick Chubb safety blanket and not just being able to say, hey, we'll just run it with Nick 30 times. They can't stop it. Since you don't have that safety blanket, you have to go into empty. You have to run, these 5 wide sets, and you have to kind of just play the more risky style of football. And right now you don't even have the quarterback that you want to do that with. So you're just going to turn the ball over more. They have to figure out a way to manufacture more easy. Well, not easy. I hate that term, easy offense. There's no such thing in the NFL. They have to find a way to manufacture less turnover prone ways to get the ball to the guys on the field. And I think that's why they like to do a lot of end arounds right now, to try to get the ball into the athlete's hands. It's just not working right now. So yeah, they got to figure out a way to limit this turnover problem structurally before I can run away and talk about how great this team is going to be. But this defense gives you a chance to win any game. The only problem with the Cleveland Browns right now is that their offense, they can lose you any game. And that's where they're at.
Yeah, it's crazy when you have a minus in the turnover margin and you're still winning games. Guru, what do you thought about the Browns' performance against undefeated, no more 49ers?
Yeah, the Browns, the defense showed why this team, is what people thought, a top 5 defense. You look at PJ Walker, you got to give Stefanski credit. He didn't allow PJ Walker to assassinate this game. He didn't allow PJ Walker to do too much. He allowed the run, Kareem Hunt, big help. I don't know, Ford, I think he left that 70-yard touchdown in Acrisure, but it's clearly evident Kareem is getting his legs underneath him. But your defense, I mean, you talked about the interior pressure, talk about Myles Garrett. How about JOK? JOK is turning into, I think, the Nick Bolton. I think he's taken that next step, and Jim Schwartz has basically been able to utilize his strengths and minimize the weaknesses. You're seeing him flashing coverage. You're seeing him make sure he's tackling in space. And I just think that Jim Schwartz overall defensive identity has benefited the Cleveland Browns. I'm not sure Deshaun Watson's health going forward, but you have to be very, very happy. And then how about DeJuan Jones? I mean, going against this fearsome front seven against Bosa, Drake Jackson, and then you have Hargrave and Armstead inside. DeJuan Jones was – this is why Browns fans thought when Conklin's injury that the Browns would still have an optimism to be successful in the offensive line. He was strong at a point in attack. He was making sure Bosa's aggressiveness, he used it against him, washed him out a couple of times. But the Browns, you're going to circle this game if you do make the playoffs or do have a good season, because this was a game that nobody gave you a shot. This was a game that the Niner fans came in into Cleveland. And quite frankly, you can look at Jake Moody's missing. But how about the Browns allowing Brock Purdy to see ghosts, quite frankly. There was times where Purdy wasn't able to go through his reads because of the pressure, and your corners just played very disciplined against Ayuk. I know Debo got nicked up. I know McCaffrey got nicked up, but the Browns look like they're in a situation where the defense is the strength of this team. And if Deshaun can come back and if Deshaun can play the level of football we know, the Browns will have a say-so as a wild card or a team that could win this division.
By the way, we have a little bit of breaking news here for the Steelers side. Plan to trade or release Desmond King.
Yeah, that's not really breaking news. People in this space, like, listen, I need Steelers fans to relax. Gunnar Olszewski, for you stand, she's going to get cut. Anthony McFarland and Deontay Johnson are coming back. Just relax. Like, you guys worry about stuff you don't even need to worry about. Desmond King played one snap for us, and then the snap he played, he got cooked. We signed Darius Rush off the Chiefs practice squad, and we're literally want to probably transition to more press. But, like, just please relax in the chat. You guys are panicking about Gunnar Olszewski. He might not have a job tomorrow, fellas.
Hey, all pro Gunnar Olszewski. One of the Patriots 2 drafted all pro players in the last 10 years. So shout out to Bill Belichick. Legit might be the worst GM of all time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. By the way, in that report, what it says is they're signing rookie Darius Rush of the Chiefs practice squad, just in case Steelers fans, so you don't think we forget about you or we don't put the news that we see out there.
Desmond King is in this class of players that, like, everybody gets excited once you get him, but, like, he's always been kind of just like the same guy where it's like, oh, you kind of know him because he was hyped up in the draft.
Yeah.
But he ain't really done nothing. Didn't he get traded from his first place in Tennessee?
No,
he got cut.
He
played for the Chargers, and then he went to Tennessee, and then he just been everywhere since then.
Yeah, I'm not sure. No joke, the Browns might be the most dangerous team in the NFL if they just get an average play out of the offense with the way this defense went. By the way, Q, I don't disagree with where you're at here, but that's crazy saying. I mean, if Deshaun Watson comes back and we still saying that's crazy with what you give up for Deshaun Watson.
You don't want to be saying this once Deshaun gets back, right? You hope it looks more like the Titans game than it does like the Pittsburgh game. But right now, the offense is a mystery, no matter who you're talking about, right? Deshaun, no Deshaun, it's a mystery right now. Even if Deshaun plays, we're not 100% sure what that's going to look like. But yeah, you hope once Deshaun gets back, he looks like his old self or resembles his old self. But if this team can just get a functional offense, they're gonna be one of the harder teams to be in the NFL. But the question is, can that happen? And right now we don't know because Deshaun's been a bit of a mystery since he's come back.
By the way, guys, thank you. I mean, sometimes we can ban people fast enough, but if you also report them, that helps. It takes a lot of energy when you have 3 accounts just to hate. So anyway, movie for a Q, Gus from 1976. Man, that's an old movie about a donkey that can kick 100-yard field goals. Everything thinks they drafted Gus.
Justin Tucker broke everybody's brain because everybody swears they could draft the next Justin Tucker, and people forget the Ravens ain't even draft Justin Tucker.
Undrafted.
Like, it'll crack me up because people in Cleveland be like, hey, we need the next Phil Dawson. You know how you found Phil Dawson? Not in the draft.
Yeah. Man, a 4th account. Okay. That being said, guys, make sure you follow us. If you can, like the video, comment after the video because that helps us a lot. Shout out to all of you that were here. Thank you for the Patreon. We appreciate y'all a lot. We'll be back on Friday previewing week 7. Thanks for watching.